Moms with aspiration, moms are inspirations, moms in circulation, moms at their workstations. Mom, they make a nation. This is a Mom Nation.
Hey moms, Katie here with More Than a Mom, and I can't believe it because we are at episode 17. It's just unreal to me that we have been talking to so many awesome ladies this year. And without further ado, we have another awesome lady on with us today. So again, the purpose of this podcast is to help our moms out there, help our listeners and our viewers work through some of the issues that pop up in life. It is anonymous, so please do write into us, message us, go to momnationaz.com and go to the More Than a Mom tab, and you'll see the form there that you can fill out and send in an anonymous question. So we do have a mom in our network that has written in, and the unfortunate situation for this mom is she is going through a domestic violence situation. So I have Brandi Powell with Village of the Valley on with me today. I just love talking to you, Brandi. Tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, Katie. Thanks for having me here. Yes, I'm the founder of Village of the Valley, and we are a collaborative of transformational life coaches here in Phoenix and the surrounding areas. And we work together to help women make those changes in life that they often desperately need to make in a whole bunch of different areas that we'll talk about today.
Awesome. So you mainly help women after they exit the abusive relationship or have the traumatic experience, right?
Correct. We are not crisis services. There's plenty of organizations around the Valley that we can help women find with some resources that we have, but we're a little farther into the process of their healing journey once they're out of that crisis.
So how would somebody know when they're ready for you?
So typically, women who are coming out of domestic violence situations or abusive relationships where they've experienced emotional abuse or verbal abuse, they're in need of counseling. That's top priority. And oftentimes, what we'll do is we'll come alongside them in that counseling time and be able to support the work that they're doing with counseling. And what that means is, you go to the counselor, you come back home, and you have a bunch of ideas and thoughts running around. And how do you sort all that out? How do you actually implement some of the things that the counselor is recommending that you begin implementing? You really need a support system around you to do that. And so we can be here as coaches, walking alongside you as you're facing those new challenges of trying to heal from the past experience that you've been through. We have many areas that we can help with, including all those times that you're really doubting yourself and your abilities. I mean, we are your biggest cheerleaders. And who doesn't need a cheerleader on their side, right?
No kidding.
And there's other times when you're struggling with your self-confidence. If you're a woman who maybe hasn't experienced a domestic violence situation, but you have experienced toxic relationships, whether it's from your childhood or in your adult relationships, your self-confidence can be deeply impacted by that. And so we are right there to face those issues that just destroy your self-confidence, destroy your ability to assert yourself, and to be able to have some empowerment in your life. And we're also really great at being able to teach you how to improve your ability to love yourself and to provide yourself with self-care. And that may be kind of a strange concept to people, loving yourself or providing yourself with care, but it's a real thing. And oftentimes, many of us haven't experienced a lot of that when we were growing up on how to love ourselves or how to take care of ourselves well. And so we get to teach you those things and support you in the ways that you feel you can take care of yourself and love yourself.
That's awesome. I can see how helpful that is because, I'm not in your field. I'm not, certified in that area or by any means. But I do know that loving yourself is probably the most important thing.
Yes, it is, because if you don't know how to do that, well, boy, if you think about RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else, right? It's exactly true. If we don't know how to experience that kind of loving tenderness, loving compassion within ourselves, how are we able to really offer that to anybody else? And we have some great tools, great weekly practices that we work on together to gain clarity and understanding of what that all looks like. And it's very understandable. It's very doable. And all of our clients, they're women who kind of come into the program, and some of them really think, oh yeah, I love myself. But a lot of the stuff that's happening in their lives would demonstrate otherwise. And so they even have times where they're surprised by some of the things that they've been practicing and been doing, and not even seeing that they haven't been really good caretakers of themselves.
In other words, it's interesting what happens when you open somebody's eyes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I often hear a lot about this issue of boundaries, and I'll see sometimes on MOMnation and some of these other groups tons of posts about women's boundaries being violated, especially as moms. What are the parameters for when my mother-in-law wants to spend time with my baby, and understanding what healthy boundaries are, understanding that you absolutely have the right to exercise a healthy boundary with someone when they're trying to push in to your space too much. Even giving a woman just some level of permission, like, yes, you absolutely can do that. That makes all the difference in the world.
Totally agree. What suggestions do you have for someone that's currently involved in an abusive or a domestic violence relationship?
Well, it's so hard. Being there myself, I do understand how difficult it is, how complex it is. You hear people sometimes say, well, just leave. Well, it is not that easy. And if it was, we would all do it in a heartbeat. But there's so many facets happening here in a situation when you're being abused that you do absolutely need support. And sometimes that is difficult to find. However, getting even one or two people that you trust and that have some level of belief in you and can stick by you when you do end up going back time and time again, those are the people that you really need, because at some point you will make that decision that you want out and you will leave. And it is difficult, but with those people around you, giving you that added strength and even the resources, the shelter that you need during that time. I also think that having a great understanding of where you can go and what is offered to you. I know that Village of the Valley, we have a resource sheet full of resources that we will provide to you, give to you, for you to contact and reach out and find the right place for you and your family. Some of them even have welcome pets, even. So if you're afraid that you don't want to leave your pet behind, that you can bring your pet with you. And we were just here to be able to direct you in the right place for that, because you will need a team to help you get through. You can't do it on your own.
I totally agree with that. And I was, once I started looking at what resources are available out there, excuse me, I was amazed that there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit of help out there. Would you say so?
Oh, I totally agree with you. Yeah, there really is. And sometimes people get caught up on the fact that there are rules and such that have to be adhered to when you participate in some of these programs and use these resources. But those things are meant to keep people safe and to keep people protected, because everybody needs that in a crisis situation. And sometimes you don't even realize that you need that. Sometimes you don't even realize you're not being protected, or you think it's really not that big of a deal. But people outside of your situation do understand it to a different degree. They're not swimming in the water with you, so they see it from a totally other angle. And you have to have a little bit of trust that they can offer you something that you may not even know you need.
What steps should somebody take to get out? You have just kind of like a step-by-step, real brief list in your head. What steps would somebody be looking at if they were thinking about leaving?
Well, I know that with these resources, 211 is a number you can call, and they have a bunch of different listings that you can take to a bunch of different lists that you can look at to be able to get out. I can speak from my experience because everybody's experience is very different.
Right.
I didn't have to create the same kinds of safety nets that some women can, but financially speaking, I could take care of myself. And had family that I could go to while I was trying to get a new place. So obviously I spoke to my family ahead of time. I secured my location before I actually left. I had money set aside in a savings account that my partner did not know about. And there would be times that I would go to the grocery store and I would go grocery shopping and I'd take an extra $50 out in cash back just so I could supplement that little safety net fund that I needed, that I knew I would need. So I had plans ahead of time. I had thought through things ahead of time before anything even came out of my mouth to my partner that I was leaving. And I made sure that things that were that needed to be in my name were in my name. I thought about my car insurance. I thought about in terms of the rent and the lease, what that looked like. I had to be very cautious and careful as to when I would call and make phone calls to those people that I needed to make sure I had everything in order with, like the leasing company. I made sure that they knew that I was in a very serious situation, that I couldn't have them reaching out to my partner, that I needed this discussion to be confidential and be private. And the risk is that you really hope that they honor and respect that confidentiality. And so I just made sure that I had a place to go, I had money in my pocket, and then I went.
Awesome. How much time does it typically take to heal once involved in your program? So after the fact, after they get out, they come to you. What's that time frame look like?
Well, Katie, I wish I could give you it'll take 6 months and you're good to go. But that's not the reality. The reality is that healing wounds is a lifetime journey. And I know that's not good for business, but that's the reality. And what it takes is a series of stepping stones in life, new places, peeling back of the onion over time with different resources, different people in your life to help that happen. So for me, it took me, oh my goodness, I don't know, 5 years before I even broached the idea that I needed help in healing, before I even started looking at all that stuff. So it took me time to even get there. And then once I was there in that place, I started in 2011, and I've been working ever since. And in the beginning, it's much harder, right? You're digging up all that old stuff. You're trying to just heal that immediate stuff that's right on the surface. But then over time, you build resiliency, you build strength, and you're able, when those triggers come up, you're able to handle them in a different way than you would when they initially came. So when a woman starts in our program, what we begin with is, what are your 3 goals that you want to work on? And they decide for themselves. And sometimes they're pretty deep. I really, really want to work on my emotional intelligence because I've been shut down for so long. And we do that real deep work, but we are one piece in that woman's life of her working on her emotional intelligence. There will be many more after us. And that's good and that's healthy because life is consistently transformation and change.
Absolutely. And it's pretty cool that your service with Village of the Valley is a free service.
Yes, I knew when I started Village of the Valley that we would not charge for our services because in my history, money's been a barrier. to a lot of things. And I will tell you, healing for sure, that's not really a priority when you got to figure out how much food you're going to have in the refrigerator for the week. So that would always get put on the back burner. And I absolutely was deeply convicted that there's no way we're going to be charging women for these services, even though what we're giving is something that that people charge for all the time. I just knew that this is not what we are going to do. We're going to remove the barrier to healing. And it gets kind of strange responses sometimes. People don't understand why I'm doing that. But it's what I feel very passionate about. And I feel that it's a service to the women of our community because I believe in the women. I think women are incredible and we have enormous amounts of strength and we are incredible teachers. And we have ways that we can make changes within our communities that are profound, deeply profound. And so I believe in that.
Totally agree. And thank you for providing this. How can someone follow you, contact you, that kind of thing? Can you share your contact pages and all of that?
Yeah. So we're on Instagram. You can find us on Instagram, Village of the Valley, with the underscores between each of the words. You can also find us on our website, villageofthevalley.org. We have some information there. You can contact us through there. And we're also on Facebook, and you can send us a message. And our Facebook page is Village of the Valley. And we've got just some information available to you, kind of laying out what we do and when is it time to get a coach. You can reach out to me directly at Brandi, brandi.votv@gmail.com. And that's my email address, and you can reach out directly and we can figure out if it's the right time or if I need to get you to a different place that can serve you better for where you're at. I would love to meet some ladies who are looking to do some transformation.
Awesome. And so our listeners are nationwide. Is your service available only in Arizona, or do you have some sort of online capabilities that you can coach these moms?
It is only in Arizona. We do have online capabilities, though, in that if we have a woman who lives over in, let's say, Santan Valley, and I'm in Phoenix, where we meet, we can do Skype sessions together so that maybe we only meet in person once a month versus 4 times a month. So that's something that can be really helpful for saving, I know it's a drive, and the goal is to get coaches all over the valley so that you can just drive to the coach that's closest to you. And so we're working on that. But otherwise, we can do online sessions together too.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Brandi.
Thanks, Katie. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. And moms, please be sure to follow us, give us a 5-star review if you love us on whatever platform that you are listening to this on. And again, we are More Than a Mom with Katie and Beth. Unfortunately, Beth is momming today, so she wasn't on with us. You know how that goes. #mom life, right? All right, moms. Until next time.
Moms with aspiration, moms are inspirations, moms in circulation, moms at their workstations. Mom, 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 they make a nation. Mom, this is a mom nation.